Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dope. We're discussing Doctor Who Flux. Excited to do so. I'm your host, Maui, and joining me, as she does every week, as we go through the six-part Flux mini-series, my bud, Steph. Steph, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was a little bit late in watching the episode, so I just watched it today.
Well, it's nice and fresh in your brain then.
It's very fresh in my brain. Yes, I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about it yet because I'm still kind of digesting it. So this should be interesting, I think.
hmm
So this is the fourth one. This is Village of the Angels. Real quick before we get into the weeds with it, what's your like non-spoilery like review? Like what just like your impressions?
Um, I thought this was like a super solid episode of Doctor Who. And I thought it was like genuinely scary, which I haven't felt scared watching Doctor Who in a long time. So that is my baseline. What about you?
So it wasn't really scary for me. It was too much angels. I think that's maybe my thing. Yeah, it wasn't really
Angels just
scary
aren't
for
your
me.
thing.
There's a lot of angels. But it was a good episode for Jodie. Um, yeah, as those are my non spoilery thoughts to this episode. And I liked the guests of the week.
Yes, me too.
So that's what I guess that would be my non spoilery thoughts on the episode. Um, yeah, but maybe I was, I don't know. Like I said, I'm real conflicted on this episode. I think it's just because it's so fresh. I'm still digesting it, so it might change as we keep going.
Do you watch
Um,
Doctor Who alone, Maui, or do you watch with your wife?
so I watched it alone because I had to watch it before this, and she was still working.
Okay. I will say that watching this with my fiance like made the experience that much better. It was like kind of one of those episodes that I felt is made better by like watching with someone and seeing their reactions to it as well.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, we've watched every other episode thus far together, and this was the first one that I watched by myself. So,
Okay.
um, all right, so let's get into the spoilers. Ah, geez, let's get into the spoilers. So this is your just I'll put up a spoiler warning here. I gotta change it from War of the Centaurans to Village of the Angels.
I'll just burn my tongue on my tea.
Ooh, okay, and there we go. Okay, so Village of the Angels, as you might have figured out from the title, we're all about the angels. It seems like this this show is doing a strange format, which I guess they won't be able to do any longer, where it's like one episode is super deep into the lore, in the story of the Flux, which is more of the story of the Division, it seems, and as well as Swarm and Azure. And then there's an episode that is less heavy on the overarching plot and more on like a particular monster or race of aliens that the Doctor's going up against. Our first episode very much focused on the story, but it was very confusing. Second episode, not a lot of that at all, but super focused on the Centaurans, which have nothing to do with the Flux. Um, then third episode, really back into the storyline. Fourth episode, I thought was a bit of a twist. Actually, it felt like it was disconnected, and at the end, we realized that it is connected.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
love that.
but most of the episode, we weren't dealing with at least we didn't think we were dealing with what was the main storyline. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
I still would argue that we didn't deal with the main storyline because it really didn't have anything to do with the Flux. It had to do with Division. Division is the the mysterious agency that the Doctor worked for prior to the first Doctor, to the Doctor as we know them. This is the Timeless Child era Doctor, worked for this mysterious agency known as the Division. Um, so that was interesting. What did you think about the way they bring in the Division? To quote the Rogue Angel, which we'll get into a little bit later, said in regards to the Division, Division uses everything and everyone, every species, every world, every moment. They are everywhere, present and unseen. Division is unstoppable. What did you think about the Division as they were being kind of portrayed in this episode?
I'm still just really curious as to what they are and like what's going on exactly and what they're trying to do with the Doctor. And it's we're getting very little about them every episode, I feel like, besides maybe the last episode where we kind of got that the Doctor's like flashback. I don't think they were the most exciting part of this episode, I guess, but I'm curious.
Well, I thought they were, because it turned out that the angels in the village of the angels were agents of Division. That the angels are actually working for Division, and this rogue angel has left Division, much like the Doctor.
Yeah. Even the weeping angels have to have jobs.
Yeah, which I thought was super weird. Like, well, I guess maybe not actually. It actually maybe explains their existence a little bit more, because like, what do they do besides like hide their faces or like eat someone's potential life energy?
I mean, what do we do besides eat and hang out?
We write, we create, we love, we laugh, we experience, we do things like like there's all these amazing things that we as humans do, but sometimes it seems like these aliens, as portrayed in Doctor Who, aren't given wants, needs, and desires beyond like world domination. So it's interesting that they do have a job, but to what end? Because I don't know what they want ultimately. I don't,
Are they getting paid to do this?
right. And that's the thing. Either you give me not a lot, or you give me a fully formed thing, right? Either they're shrouded in mystery and they're this mysterious force they're trying to kill people, or you give them wants and desires and make them complex characters.
I need the specifics.
Right. And so maybe that's my problem with, as we've like learned more about the angels, we never get any motivations as to what they actually want besides the fact that they're cruel.
Uh-huh.
So what did you think of the rogue angel living inside of Claire, which was the lady from the first episode?
Yeah, we've been wondering where she went to.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she went to. I thought that was so cool. I thought it was like a cool nod to when Amy had the angel in her eye, but also being completely different and making up like its own rules about what it means to have an angel inside your brain, like living there. I thought it was because I feel like a lot of the angel lore, we have like a lot of it. Stephen Moffat gave us a lot of angel lore and rules and all these things that they do and things they follow. And I like how Chris Chibnall is taking all of that and like not ignoring any of it, even though some of it was really weird, and working with it, and then adding just a bit more, like just enough to keep us interested, but not too much, like like Moffat did, where it was like, well, now the Statue of Liberty is an angel.
Oh, don't get me started on that. That was the dumbest.
I liked it a lot.
Like, we know where that was made. It was made in France. It was a gift.
Yeah, that was whack. I don't think I'll ever be over that.
Yeah. I also don't know how I walked through New York unseen the entire time. So yeah, I know. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting twist. I liked that. I think I liked that the rogue angel wasn't good necessarily, just didn't want to be under the control of Division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, because like, this rogue angel sold the Doctor out. That was fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
to see. Like, you're the only person that they want more than me is you, so I made a deal
Mm-hmm.
to get out of this. Though
And it worked so well.
At that point, though, I don't see why they needed to make a deal, because they had them both cornered.
That's what I was wondering too, which is why I was thinking maybe they're like this angel was never actually rogue and it was all just like a story. But I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, no, it was real. What they said was real. They just made a deal, but like, I don't know that the deal needed to be made. They were surrounded by like 50 angels with literally nowhere to go.
Yeah. Maybe that's just like a big whoops on the rogue angel's part.
Whoopsie.
Oh, whoop.
So here's a question
Mhm.
that I think needs to be addressed. Yaz and Dan were displaced by an angel. Does that mean the Doctor can never get them now?
That's the thing, isn't it, Maui? Because that was a really shitty, dumb rule that Stephen Moffat made up for no
Right.
reason.
And also, according to the next time on, it's going to be like 3 years later. That takes a lot of the momentum out of the story, at least for them, right?
Maybe
Like, they
so.
I would assume, have moved on, and like, if they're able to just hang out there for 3 years, I'm really trying to understand the urgency of the Flux. The Flux doesn't seem to be a major component of this story.
Yeah, it was just a cool name.
It's just like, yeah, it's a cool name, and it's a thing that's eating the universe, but we don't understand why or how. Like, is Division part of this? Is it this war between time and space that they mentioned in the last episode? So like, and I guess that's why I'm conflicted, because like, I do enjoy the episode. Like, the episode was fun. It was too many angels for my taste. I don't understand their power set. It seems to be a moving target. They were literally like making sketches of angels that they could step out of. Like, really, like, a lady just drew an angel and then it just became a weeping angel. That makes no sense to me.
An image of an angel becomes an angel, Maui.
Okay, I understand that, but like, that means every time any kid like draws a picture of an angel, like in Bible class, like, it
No,
becomes an
because what
angel.
she drew was specifically a weeping angel. Like
Okay,
the,
so if
the
I
angel
draw
that
an
she saw
angel
in her
covering its
head.
face, it's going to come to life and kill me.
If you draw a weeping angel covering its face, it's going to come alive and kill you, yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think the angels have to be around also. Because the doctor said it takes a lot of their energy to do that. So maybe it's more like transportation.
So like, if they're nearby and they can sense that there's something that like resembles their image, they can like turn it into one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
And apparently they can force something that monitors brainwaves to quickly sketch out an angel, and then that can turn into an angel.
Listen. I was too busy being scared to think of all the technicalities.
And if an angel pops out of the paper, if you crumple the paper, they will also crumple.
That was cool. I enjoyed that.
It was a cool effect, but I didn't understand it. I don't understand like what is their magic system. Like, it seems to just be a very soft magic system that continues to expand. Every time we see them, like, we learn more about them, more about what they can do. And I don't understand. I just don't understand why. Like, I don't understand like what was the light up power at the end, and then they like just straight up turned the Doctor into a weeping angel.
we don't know about that yet. I feel like that's a whole thing. And here's the thing with the Weeping Angel's powers. You know, you say that maybe we're still kind of like learning about what they can do, but I'm kind of okay with that because I was thinking while watching the episodes, I think they're still learning what they can do. Like it seemed like these angels that we were meeting this time were far more advanced than any angels that we've met in the past. And I had that thought when the rogue angel was talking because if I'm remembering correctly, Bob the Angel in Time of the Angels also talked, but his like his sentences were simpler and more straightforward and not as conversational. So I do feel like the angels are still learning, even to the extent of learning how to like have a conversation more or learning how to project their voices or whatever it is they do. Maybe that's not something they had when they started as a species or something they've gained from the division. This could be super angels for all we know. So I'm choosing to believe that.
Yeah, I guess like, and those are the things that kind of just drive my brain crazy, you know. So that's I think always been a bit of an issue for me. Like when I see stuff like, wait, what? How? You know. But like I said, like it really freaking fun, rollicking episode, and Jodie really shined. Yeah, so like I'd say like performance of Jodie was great. I loved what was his name? Eustachius. What's his last name? Eustachius something.
Yeah, and what's up with this show making me like all these white guys? I hate it.
But I really dug him.
Me
He had
too.
interesting speech patterns, you know.
Yeah, a wonderful actor.
Mm-hmm.
Was so like, you know, the old kind of professor stereotype kind of man isn't usually that likable. Like usually like super smart, kind of cocky.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go in expecting to be like neutral about this man. If he gets sent back, turned into an angel, you're like, eh. Kind of like how we felt about like Peggy's, what was he, great uncle. But he proves himself to be like really brave and really knowledgeable and like loyal. And then you end up liking him. It's like, oh man, come on.
Eustachius Jericho
Yeah, and he had a cool name.
is the name. Yeah, I dug him a lot. Kevin McNally is the name of that actor, by the way.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, I dug him. I really liked Claire as well.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But once again, like there's an angel just kind of hiding out in her brain
Mm-hmm.
because she got a premonition of this angel.
Yeah.
And so it's like this is what I'm talking. Like I don't get it. Like they seemingly can do anything that the plot needs them to be able to do, rather than like here's their power set and they make decisions based on that. It's like their powers change according to the needs of the plot, and that is frustrating for me.
Well, when was there an instance you can think of where you say if their powers are changing with the plot, where their powers like I can't think to
So, for example,
word.
the plot necessitated that this angel needed like a person to hide in. So now they're saying that because because she, you know, saw an image of said angel in her brain, the angel was able to just hide out there. Because remember we said the image, it's not exactly a one-to-one like
Mm-hmm.
that which holds the image of an angel becomes an angel, but like they're like, well, we can kind of take that and then like, you know, say like, oh, but also they can hide out in somebody, you know, like she still had her consciousness, like she didn't become an angel, it just meant that the angel could hide out inside of her, you know. It just seems like strange to me. Sorry, I just keep getting hung up on these angel
That's
powers.
okay. It didn't bother me like it bothered you.
Yeah.
Hello, Didi.
I thought that the time displacement of like the village like hanging in the in space or something, or like removed from, you know, what do they call it,
Oh, what was it?
temporal extraction,
Quantum extraction.
quantum extraction. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know more about that. Uh
Yeah, because I'm like, what exactly was that?
Yeah. The seeing the little girl Peggy, and then realizing that like the old woman that knew a lot was the old Peggy. I thought that was a cool twist, one that I figured out almost immediately. Like as soon as it was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going. That was pretty obvious, I
Doesn't
thought.
it get boring predicting everything all the time, Maui?
No, because like I don't predict everything, but like that was, I thought, like just kind of pretty obvious. Like didn't think that was like a hard conclusion to figure out.
Me and Abby didn't even
Um,
surprised us.
um, yeah, I was like, yeah, I felt like that was fairly obvious. That was like older her. Um, the
I mean, you guessed the killer for Broadchurch, so you can guess anything, I guess.
um, okay. What do you think about Yaz and Dan being separated from the Doctor yet again?
Again. I don't love it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it is kind of playing into the real, like, scatterbrained, confused, not overwhelmed, but kind of all over the place Doctor that we're getting in this series, because we all know that the Doctor is their most grounded when they're with their companions. So almost in a way, taking away their companions, although it sucks because we want to see them together. But that really it changes the Doctor. And a whole thing with this series is the Doctor finding out her past and like being very confused by everything and kind of thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how it benefits that particular part of the storyline. But I don't want to see it. I want them to be all together.
Yeah. Um. Okay, let's talk about Bell and Vendor. What did you think about their storyline this episode?
I enjoyed it. You know, trying to think. Yeah, there was one point where something super intense happened, and then when it came back from the commercial, it was like Bell and Bender, and it was like a calming kind of part of the story, but also like, let's get on with it. But I still cared about them. I saw a lot of people online being like, I don't care about the storyline. I don't know what's going on with them. I still care about them, and I care. I find the world that they are in very fascinating. This sort of the universe that they're in, this sort of post-apocalyptic universe. What about you?
I liked it. I wish there was a little bit more of it, because I
Yeah.
do really enjoy their storyline. So
Mhm.
I would have loved more, but I loved the little bit that we got. It though it did have the part that was my biggest problem with the episode was in their storyline. It had nothing to do with their storyline. It had to do with the awful special effects of the scene where Azure and the passenger were on top of the cliff. It looked super cheesy, and like, like her makeup is, like I'm just not a big fan of the makeup they did on that character.
Every
But
time I
also
see
like
her
it just
makeup,
looked like 20-year-old like cut and paste on a green screen.
they used their whole budget on those 500 angels.
Right, yeah, that looked really good. Like they had some like amazing stuff, so it stood out strangely for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a small quibble, but yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed that. I'm very curious as to why they are like imprisoning hundreds of people within the passenger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I almost hope that Bell and Vendor, like, and I know this won't happen, but like I would love for them to just have a spinoff show and
Oh
like
yeah.
follow them as like an ass kicking like married couple adventuring through space with their kid,
Mm-hmm.
just because I really enjoy them and their dynamic. I love how confident she is. It feels like she's the
I love
more experienced between the two of them,
her.
you know Um, and when he finally like got to see her face on that recording, and it cut out, and like he didn't like despair. He's just like, I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you're still out there, and that's all I need to know. Like, we're gonna find each other.
Yeah, I love them. But like, so how do they tie into the rest of this? Right?
Yeah, no fucking clue.
That's the thing, right?
No clue. Deacon was very shocked at you. Or he's like,
I'm sorry, DD. I just need to know. He was so Deacon gets really worried when we scream, like when me and Abby scream. And he like gets concerned. I'll get up in your face and like check to make sure you're okay. And he was doing that while we were watching the episode last night because we were like screaming at the TV and we were saying there's one point where we both went, "Oh shit," at the same exact time, and Deacon was like, "What's going on?
oh,
Are you
buddy.
okay?" Good boy.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to figure out how they like tie all into this.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that like, because I feel like regardless of my problems with like the too many threads and stuff, I do feel like thus far this is like the strongest season that they've had. It feels more memorable to me. Like, I feel like next year I'll still be thinking about this in a way that I haven't in the previous seasons of 13. And I'm kind of sad that like after this there's just like a couple specials and then it's over.
I know, because it feels like we're just getting started.
Yeah, like these are all characters that like, oh, I hope like they like come back in like later episodes. Like, I could see like it feels like the foundation for like people that would pop in and out of the Doctor's life, similar to 10. I'm like, oh, I could see all these people like coming together in the Children of Time like type of team up to help the Doctor take on the Daleks type of thing. Like, I would love that, because these are some really great characters that they're bringing in, and it's sad that it's coming at the tail end of it all.
I know. Besides maybe like Kablam, this is maybe the only episode that I've wanted to rewatch like immediately after watching it. Like these episodes that we're watching right now, I'm like, I gotta see it again.
Yeah.
It feels so nice to feel that way about Doctor Who again, though.
Yes. Yeah, I do. So I do think that that Chibnall is finishing in somewhat good fashion. It now is just a matter about sticking the landing.
Yes.
Right, because like no longer can he do like the next 2 episodes. Just obviously just have to just deal with everything. In this penultimate episode that we're getting next week, we have to. A lot of stuff needs to get resolved in the next episode to clear the path to just laser focus in on Jodie, the Division, and the Flux, so that we can resolve everything that's going on. Because the Flux doesn't seem to be like it's never felt pressing after the first episode.
Yeah.
And that's really bothersome to me. So it really needs to reassert itself. This should have been called Doctor Who Division. And then I wouldn't be so bothered by it.
I'm just laughing at you.
Why?
The Flux needs to be more assertive.
It does. It does. If you are in the title, right, Doctor Who Flux. The Flux is the titular antagonist of this miniseries.
No, you're right.
And we haven't heard much of it at all since the first episode, since they were consumed by it. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe at the end they're like, all of this is because we're still like falling through the Flux. This is like, I don't know, but I just need to understand why the Flux thing is so important. And I don't. I understand that the Division is super important. I understand that that Swarm and Azure are super important. We've gotten a lot about those aspects of it, and not enough for my taste. I want to know more. And I'm really excited for the next episode, because it looks like we're going to get the explanation of Swarm and Azure in the next episode. So that's really exciting to me as well. and perhaps it's that they themselves caused the flux, but I'm not quite clear on that. I'm assuming that that's the case, but I'm not quite clear on it. So they are the ones behind the flux. So so the titular antagonist then by extension is them, and I'd be fine with that. Um, so I'd love to have a quick conversation here about the angels, because you said you loved the angels in this episode. You found them scary and everything, and I'm kind of on the other end of it where I felt they were overused. They were effectively used, I thought, but there's just way too much of them, and they're talking and like it just felt weird to me.
Yeah.
Like you said, I would be happy if they never used them again after Blink. But but here we are. So I'd love to understand more about why you loved the way the angels are used in this episode.
I love the Weeping Angels, and while I thought I'm biased because I love River, and River, all her episodes are like key Doctor Who to me. But the Angels Take Manhattan, the angels weren't super scary in that one. They were kind of underwhelming. There was no like exciting scenes, nothing new. And I thought this episode made them scary again because there were all these beautiful moments of like what makes the angels so scary. The idea that you always have to be staring at them, the lights flickering, they take out the flashlights, they turn the flashlights off, they flicker the lights, they were like banging around to try to get you to blink or flinch or sneeze. And just the chase scenes where they're moving closer to you after every black out, that gets my heart racing. That's like the OG Blink episode angels, the way they operate. They're moving, they're different every time. And like I said, I loved that extra thing they added about them being able to kind of take hold in a psychic premonition. And I liked how it all came to an end where there's like so many of them. I was trying to think, there was one other part that I really liked. Oh, when the angel came through the TV screen, that was fucking terrifying.
That was pretty cool. That was a really cool effect. The way it was like reaching out through the screen was super dope.
Yeah, that was awesome. I just thought we were nervous because they definitely have some like kind of making up to do after the Angels Take Manhattan, and they've been out of the show for so long. We thought they might never come back, and I just think they came back with a bang, and like a good amount of the old stuff and some new stuff, and just the sheer trying to jump scares that the Angels are known for. So I had a good time.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, so here's the things there were some scenes that I really did enjoy, despite like my issues with the angels. Though that old British couple that were just like bickering.
Oh, Peggy's
each other.
guardians.
Yeah. And they get displaced, and they don't quite understand what happened. And when they're like, just stop, just don't walk. They're like, you don't tell me what to do. Look, there's another angel. Like literally, like this lady just saw this angel come at her, and she didn't care. Like it was like that was hilarious. I thought they were funny.
Me and Abby really loved to hate. What was the guy's name? Like Gerald or something?
Yeah, it was Gerald and let me find them here. 1 second.
He got disintegrated by the angel, and we were both like, nah, good riddance.
Gerald and Jean.
I didn't like him that much anyway, or he wasn't very nice to me, or whatever she said. We were like, good for you, Peggy.
Yeah. Yeah, Gerald and Jean. They were hilarious.
Yes.
And just like not even shook by like just crazy stuff that was happening to them.
They were like that mood where you just want to go home. You're so tired, you just want to go home. You don't care what the fuck happens.
Right. Um, yeah, so I like that. Okay, biggest issue with the angels was the angel that took the priest, because old Peggy was watching that whole thing from across the way. Like the camera pans over after he's gone, and she's just standing there staring. Like, well, if she was watching,
Well, she
how
was
did the angel?
blinking, obviously. She said, but that ain't none of my business.
I guess. So like when it panned over to them, I was like, but you said, you know, yeah. Oh, I did like the recall of the visual language of the dust in the eye.
Yes. Yeah. That was, ooh.
Yeah, that was cool. Um, I don't like that the paper was able to reassemble itself.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
That was annoying to me. And that the angel was just an on fire angel when the doctor set it on fire.
It was so cool, Maui.
But then when water
No,
was thrown on it, it was gone.
totally suspend your disbelief with that one, because a fire weeping angel was the coolest fucking thing. And so scary. Imagine that being in your house.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that was weird. What else? What else? What else? I want to understand what the division is.
For real. Like they're
I'm
bad, right?
hmm?
Like they're bad, right?
It seems like they're bad. We know that the doctor had to work for them and was trying to get out and had to do this last mission to get out of the division, apparently.
Mhm.
Um, but I want to understand to what end.
Yeah.
Like what was their purpose? Are they I would assume that they're a Time Lord organization. They have to be, right? Because that's who controlled the doctor when she arrived in this universe.
Or is
Right? So like to my
yeah.
mind it has to be some sort of like ancient Time Lord organization.
Well, back when they were just Gallifreyans.
Well, yes, but those Gallifreyans were given the ability to regenerate by whoever that, what was the name of that
Oh, she had the coolest name too.
was that tech some
Yeah,
tech
yeah, yeah.
tune
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. Right, so like perhaps Tech Tune started the division. Is that the name?
It's something very similar. Are you gonna look it up?
You look it up.
I We're
You
not
look
winning any Doctor Who trivia tonight.
you look it up. Yeah. I yeah, I'm very curious as to like who and what they are, because it seems like they're active in the universe, right? It seems like they're still operational, and if that's the case, which is always the problem with when you're retconning, things, especially with Doctor Who, because when you add things, they're things that have always been there due to the nature of the time travel.
Tecteun? I can't even read this. Tecteun.
Yeah. Okay. But like, why, right? Like, what is the significance of this? What is the function of this organization? That's what I'm very curious about.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited about, like, Ugh. I want to know.
Yeah. All right, let's go through some of the Guardians catches in terms of like um lore and like previous like things like from the history of Doctor
Oh,
Who that appear
yes.
in this.
My favorite.
Um
Peek my mug while
okay,
Abby's doing that.
here we go. So that's pretty dope.
Thank you. Go on.
Here we are. The first thing they say is that the Weeping Angels first appeared in one of the most highly regarded Doctor Who episodes of all time, Blink, in 2007. That was an adaptation of a short story titled What I Did in My Christmas Holidays by Sally Sparrow that Moffat originally penned for the 2006 Doctor Who annual.
Oh, shit.
I did not realize that.
Me neither.
It is the first time that the Angels have been the titular monsters since the Angels Take Manhattan. Though they have made cameos since, including in Matt Smith's final episode, The Time of the Doctor in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, this was my favorite moment of the entire episode. The writer, the Guardian writer said, I yelled out, she said the thing when Whitaker said reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Made me so happy.
We love that shit as Doctor Who fans. That's good shit.
When Gerald asked who was in charge, and Yaz said it was a very flat team structure, she wasn't just echoing the Doctor's words, but also Graham, who in 2018, The Witchfinders dealt with King James refusing to accept a woman, could be in charge by saying it's a very flat team structure.
Aww.
We all have our areas of expertise.
That's sweet.
The people of the village disappeared on 21 November 1967. If they had landed the TARDIS 3 days earlier, they could all have sat down and watched the now lost second episode of Patrick Troughton's story, The Ice Warriors, which was broadcast on 18 November 1967.
That's so funny. Oh, man. That's almost painful to think about.
Yes. And apparently, the immersive Doctor Who theater experience Time Fracture is taking bookings again after being closed due to flooding for months.
Oh, good for them. I'm happy
Yeah,
for
good
them.
for them. The next episode is called Survivors of the Flux.
Maybe we'll get some answers.
Yes. Maybe we'll get some answers. I very curious to see how the Doctor, because every time we have like an impossible situation, but like this one seems to be the most impossible yet, where she's literally been recalled by Division and turned into a weeping angel.
Do you think she's gonna be in this episode at all?
She fucking better be. There's 2 episodes left. Well, this is not the time to do a Doctor Light episode. Like, it's just not. Like, I need as much of her as I can get from here on out. So I would be very sad if she's not featured in this episode.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
If not in the if not in like the main storyline, if we just like get like some sort of like in her mind where she's like trying to figure everything out. She's like taking all the pieces and trying to figure it all out. And then she figures out how to escape this like weeping angel body that she has been turned into. That was crazy. What did you freak out at that moment?
Yeah, and I feel like that was maybe not so much weeping angels and more like that was something the Division could do. Yeah, that was whack.
Wait, what do you mean?
I mean, like not like a power like that the weeping angels could do on their own. Just turn people into weeping angels.
I don't know.
That'd be weird.
I mean, all the visual evidence points to the angels being the ones that did it. Like they lit up.
Yeah, they did it, but with the help of their their bosses in their job in the
We still didn't find out
capitalistic
who the
society
other two.
of the business.
But we still didn't find out who the other two team members are.
They're two what?
The other two division team members, the Fugitive Doctors team.
Oh yeah.
We know that one of them is Carvanista.
Yeah, you were saying last week that you really wanted to know who they were.
But we still don't know who they are and if they're important to this
They're gonna
story.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So right now we have it ranked. Where did you rank the last week's episode? We had 2.
We ranked it the same.
What was 3, 2, 1? Where do you rank this one?
I ranked this one at the top. Finally gonna disagree?
No, I think I do too.
Really? You loved last week's episode though. You were like obsessed with it.
I did love last week's episode. I did love last week's episode, and even though I'm more conflicted on this episode, like in terms of like the usage of the angels, the plot, like the main plot of the episode, and Jodie's performance was freaking stellar.
It was, and it like you said earlier, I think like this was a much more like memorable episode. Like it's gonna be one of the top episodes in Jodie's tenure.
Yes, and even though like I'm like whatever about the angels at this point, the jump scares with the angels were very effective. And they were used pretty effectively throughout. That's what I'll say.
I agree.
So yeah. So I will say this about this miniseries, even though like I'm frustrated at the lack of information about like the main plot, at least the seeming lack of information. It could turn out that once they explain something, that a whole bunch of other stuff that we've seen previously makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I felt was kind of the case in Broadchurch. There was a lot of things that like didn't make sense until they did. And being that it's the same writer, I would assume that that's going to be the case with this. I'm very curious to know about because this one was actually co-written.
Yeah, and oh my god. So
I'm very curious to learn more about the woman that co-wrote this episode with Chibnall.
Yeah, bring her back.
Yeah, I really dig it. So I will say that even though I did have a lot of questions, that every episode is getting better than the last.
Oh, that's such a good feeling.
Yeah, so I hope that holds true.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, and so in my predictions for next week, I'm not going to ask you because you never have any.
Blank slate, no thoughts behind these eyes.
We are going to learn the backstory of Swarm and Azure. Like we're going to get all of that reveal finally. Yaz and Dan have been stuck in the past for 3 years, according to the previously on. So I'm wondering if Dan is like, well, this is where we live now. And Yaz is like, no, I need to find her. Like, we need to find our way back to her. And she doesn't give up.
She was freaking the fuck out when the doctor was getting turned into the angel. Poor Yaz.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, I'm also going to say that we're going to get some sort of scene, like another scene with that mysterious woman that popped up, the old woman.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that she's the head of division. And I think we're going to get another scene with her because the doctor's been recalled. I'm wondering if the doctor, if it's a red herring and the doctor hasn't actually been turned into a weeping angel, but it's just being imprisoned in the shell of one
like
until they get back to the division. Then they will release her from that because, like, Division is recalling the Doctor. They don't want to turn the Doctor into a weeping angel. They want the Doctor for what the Doctor can do.
Exactly.
So I don't think that that's going to be a permanent thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no.
So those are my predictions and hopes for the next episode.
Yes.
All right. That is all we got. Next week, did you figure out what is happening with are they doing a viewing of next week's episode at TARDIS?
So they released the schedule, and on the schedule it says Sunday 7 p.m. special video presentation. For all of those who are still at the hotel, we will have a special video presentation in the video room at 7. So that sounds to me like they're showing the episode.
I would say so. Yes. So I will. So we will go on Sunday night, sometime after we've watched that from Chicago TARDIS.
If my mom lets me stay.
What do you mean if your mom lets you stay?
I don't have a car.
What, is she not going to stay for the presentation?
I don't know. I told her that it's happening, and all she said was, "For fuck's sake."
What does that even mean?
That's the question, Valley. So we'll see. If we're not here on Sunday, we'll be here on Monday.
Yes. So we're hoping to. We will at some point try and figure out how to do at least a little something live from TARDIS.
Yes. Probably separate from our episode.
Yes.
Discussion.
Yes. So that's about it. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a good one.
Bye.
Be dope.